What up, what up, what up? Welcome to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 p.m. Pacific Time. Getting a little too ahead of myself here, obviously. Hope you guys had an amazing 4th of July. Hopefully you and your family were safe. Everything was swell. You guys woke up, had an amazing breakfast, and was like, oh man, we had that amazing Wrestling Laureate podcast to watch tonight. So let's get stoked for that. But, wrestling's awesome. Wrestling is awesome, guys. Tune into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast. Well, once again, our podcast, this sports fate of wrestling and love and passion and, clicking on videos, searching on your social media, like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, has led us to this. This is destiny. This is destiny. So thank you for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today on tap. Today we have our WWE Smackdown preview. We're also going to preview. We have a bunch of previews today. Well, not maybe like we have Smackdown, and then we have segment 2. We're going to talk about NXT Heatwave. Segment 3, we're going to talk about exactly how important is this year's Money in the Bank. I know obviously this is this is kind of an event that wrestling fans, especially me, the moment we find out it's going to happen, we kind of mark it on our calendars because it's a really big deal. It's a really big deal. I love Money in the Bank is pretty big. Obviously WrestleMania, the Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, and honestly those are my big four. Those are, of course, the Royal Rumble as well. But, my top 5 favorite Saturdays or Sundays. I don't know if they're going to switch to Sundays thanks to, TKO and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. Can't wait to see it. Our 4th segment, we're going to talk about Money in the Bank. We're going to break down the matches. And our 5th segment, I'm going to leave you guys with some wrestling news roundup. So, guys, but before we move on, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Go and shoot your questions, comments, and concerns. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. We get a number of questions from viewers like you that come in during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air in front of millions of wrestling viewers, don't be shy to hit up that chat button. Give me a shout out where you're at right now. Tell me how you feel about fireworks. Tell me, what you did for the 4th of July. If you need someone to talk to, I will be that guy. No, I'm just kidding. Mostly for wrestling would be awesome. But if you have something to share, obviously share it, dude. By all means. Once again, the link is at the gsmcpodcast.net. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity all the way. So once again, it really does help the show. Remember to like and subscribe and Superman punch that follow button to the show, to the network, the GSMC Sports Network. But most importantly, let's go ahead and dig on into the show. All right, so our first segment, we're going to talk about WWE Smackdown happening tonight. First and foremost, it's been a while since Logan Paul has defended his United States Championship, and that's kind of troublesome, in my opinion. As a wrestling fan, especially recently watching how good of pay-per-views AEW kind of host, I feel like WWE, and this is something that Logan Paul has kind of expressed through wrestling media, that the United States Championship needs to be defended on a month-to-month basis, on PLEs, pay-per-views, on big shows, on big events, like it doesn't matter. But WWE doesn't do it. And that's something that, kind of baffles me, despite the fact that, for the longest time, wrestling, the World Wrestling Entertainment was kind of like the juggernaut in terms of professional wrestling, but it's not like that anymore. I feel like AEW, although it's not that big of a deal, could kind of give WWE a run for the money based on their PLEs just alone. So far, I've watched AEW Double or Nothing. I watched Dynasty. I also watched AEW Forbidden Door. All of them are great pay-per-views. A bunch of title matches. All of them were probably title matches. And of course, some of the Owen Hart Cup and stuff like that. But I don't know. I feel like WWE has kind of had that place, kind of had that confidence that it was like, no one really can challenge us. So, we're going to give them the WWE Universe what we think they want. And then ultimately you leave out a couple of title matches. Like, there's no WWE tag team titles, the world or the regular tag teams being defended on Money in the Bank. It's actually being, defended tonight. We'll talk about that. but no United States Championship either. And it's just, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. And also the WWE Championship because of the Cody Rhodes and the whole bloodline and stuff like that. So tonight, will you see Logan Paul find an opponent for Money in the Bank? Next, we have Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. Both failed to qualify for the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match on Saturday. It was kind of hinted. It was kind of hinted on the last show that Jade Cargill seems like she's really kind of just, she's ready. She's up to challenging, uh, I think it's Alba Fire and Iceland. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. The WWE World Tag Team Champions. But it seems like Bianca's more of a singles wrestler. Like, so was Jade. Of course, she came from AEW. She's the longest reigning TBS champion. But I honestly want to see these girls go head to head. I would like to see one of them go heel. There's speculations that, it might be Jade because she came from AEW, but I feel like it'd be better for the WWE in terms of creative purposes is if you put Bianca. Bianca's never really been a heel throughout her whole entire tenure within WWE. I could, obviously don't quote me on that. I could have, missed a stint. But I don't know. Just so far, it seems like Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill has been so dominant. I really wouldn't want to see them win the championships again. Although they did do pretty well. They did do pretty well, and I want to see these girls. I want to see them go at it. I want to see these girls kill each other in a match, SummerSlam, or the Royal Rumble, or any other the Bash at Berlin. We have a number of a lot of WWE PLEs coming up, and this could definitely be like a headline. This could definitely be a way for Jade to kind of cement her legacy in WWE, defeating Bianca Belair, and this could be a way for Bianca to build up momentum to partially or potentially clash against the WWE Women's Champion or the WWE World Women's Champion. If I doubt they'll ever let her go to Raw, but it should be interesting. All right, next we have Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, and Cody Rhodes. They laid waste to the bloodline on SmackDown last week, and it was pretty badass. It was pretty cool. A lot of carnage, a lot of just dismay. Obviously, Jacob Fatu was not there. And, the fans, the WWE fans, the WWE Universe, they want to see a 4-on-4 matchup. I wouldn't know why you would leave, because right now it's Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Cody Rhodes taking on Jacob Fatu Tamatanga, and the Tribal Chief Solo Sikoa. I feel like they need to find a fourth. You just can't have one guy just kind of lingering out on the apron. You can't have one guy lingering out there just no purpose or anything like that. I feel like it would be great for WWE to be like, look, we need to make this an 8-man tag team match. It would be badass if it was elimination. Tornado, that'd be a little, kind of like an Anarchy in the Arena kind of feel. But overall, I feel like they need to make that match at Money in the Bank a 4-on-4. But should be interesting. And if they do, who will join them? Who will join them? If you look on the SmackDown roster, you don't really have anybody right now. Maybe besides CM Punk, but CM Punk, he's kind of injured. I don't think he's probably going to make an appearance at Money in the Bank to cost Drew McIntyre his shot at winning the briefcase. But overall, I don't really know who would be the next one in line to kind of do it. So I feel like the 3-on-3 is going to stick. But overall, I feel like what the WWE fans really want is a 4-on-4 at Money in the Bank. Kayla Braxton's last WWE show was on this Friday. Kind of sad. She showed no interest into to go into AEW, although you had a lot of wrestling headlines. Well, that could potentially change. Obviously, money changes things. Money changes different kind of relationships and stuff like that. Honestly, the sky's the limit for Kayla Braxton, but only time will tell where she's going. But I know she's gonna be out of WWE. Godspeed, Caitlin. Good luck with your future endeavors. Hope you kill it. You still have the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast on your back, bro. Next, we have more chemistry developed between Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax. Obviously, you saw Tiffany Stratton qualify for the Women's Money in the Bank last Friday night on SmackDown, and Nia Jax was happy about it. And I don't really like. Obviously, Nia Jax isn't the champion just yet, but I feel like ultimately, I honestly, I don't know why I feel this way. If you have the reason why, hit it up in the chat. Um, I just feel like Tiffany Stratton joining Nia Jax, kind of like, kind of bringing her with her in her journey like that. I feel like it kind of destroys Nia's credibility. And like I said, I don't know how to explain it. I just get this feeling that I'm like, dude, well, like you're supposed to be Nia Jax. You're supposed to be the immovable object. You're supposed to be like the best, the badass, like kind of like the Braun Breaker of the WWE Smackdown Women's Division. But you're not like you. I don't know if she's using Tiffany Stratton. It'd be kind of cool if they had that storyline, or when she eventually defeats Bailey and she tells Tiffany to, she's kind of like Tiffany's Nia Jax's right hand woman, and you see her urge Tiffany Stratton to cash in on Liv Morgan. That would be one hell of a change up. If you see Tiffany Stratton go to Monday Night Raw and they just swap the two out, Liv Morgan, that kind of solves the Liv Morgan Judgment Day problem. And then you have Tiffany Stratton representing Monday Night Raw. But I don't know. It's still, highly up in the air. Can't wait to see what happens tonight. Next, we're gonna see what's next after the young bloodline took out the wise man Paul Heyman. It's crazy. What will Roman do? When will he come back? Will Paul Heyman be back with another superstar? A lot of speculation say Brock Lesnar came back. Well, he could come back. His name is allowed to be on WWE TV, and he's right now kind of dealing with other stuff outside of WWE, like allegations and stuff like that. But he could come back with Heyman. He could come back with CM Punk. Heyman's hiatus, I feel like, will be about at least a month. Will anybody replace the Wise Man? There was a lot of speculation on the internet that Rikishi Fatu might, obviously there's Jacob, his son Solo. So this could very much be a crucial topic heading forward. All right, and we have two matches confirmed for tonight. We have our WWE Tag Team title match between Grayson Waller and we have A-Town Down Under going against DIY. I feel like this is DIY's moment. I want to see Austin Theory turn completely face tonight. Totally, like, he's done with the heel. He's done the heel for so damn long, through basically his whole career. And it really hasn't gotten him anywhere. Sure, it got him the Money in the Bank briefcase, but it was one of, like, in WWE history, probably one of the worst cash-ins, in the world. So, should be interesting. Should be kind of crazy to find out. Lastly, Pretty Deadly takes on the Pride, who's the Street Profits tonight on WWE Smackdown. So yeah, hope you guys are enjoying that. It's happening right now. I have it recorded. Can't wait to watch it. Can't wait to watch it. So let's move on to WWE NXT Heatwave. I'm going to give you my predictions, the match card, and just kind of my analysis. So hey, do not go anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflecting on what we talked about right quick. We talked about our WWE Smackdown preview, and now we're going to jump on into WWE NXT Heatwave predictions. So, once again, hope you guys had an amazing 4th of July. Hope you guys stayed safe. Hopefully you guys aren't too hungover. And if you are, what time is it? It's 8 o'clock. Dude, grab another drink, man. Chill out. The best way, fight fire with fire. Hair of the dog, baby. Hair of the dog. The best way to get over a hangover is, sip it on your favorite beverage once again, but not too recklessly. So make sure have your favorite drink, have your favorite snack, and tune in to Eric's GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. But before we move on any further, I want to remind you guys that we get a number of questions from viewers like you during the show. To ensure that your question gets read on air in front of millions of viewers, hopefully, I asked you guys to use the GSMCpodcast.net for the tips and donations link. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Give me some of your predictions for NXT Heatwave. Would absolutely love your predictions. Would absolutely love them to go into in-depth analysis on talking about it. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here just to mumble on and on and on for an hour, although I feel like I do. I feel like in an hour, I try to avoid, there's something in the journalism world as a dead air where you kind of have it like, I try to avoid that. I try to avoid that at all times, but sometimes it's inevitable where I kind of get caught thinking about things and I'm like, ooh, no, who's better, The Undertaker or Kane? And, like who, the Brothers of Destruction, or whatever, who was it's hard sometimes talking about professional sports. It's a sports. You have that pondering. You also have that thought in the back of your mind. You have this just sports is something in the world that I feel like I can't even explain. It's kind of a cop out to be like, oh, it's so exciting. It's so awesome. Get your blood boiling. Yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah, that's true. But there's something deep down inside about sports, professional wrestling. Something deep down about that. Something about that niche that just scratches and it just feels so damn good. So damn good. And you watch it and you're like, oh, kind of like watching football. Watching football, you have your Sunday ticket going on. It's like it's heaven. You're like, damn, I just watched my kid being born. And that satisfaction comes nothing to like watching football. I'm just kidding. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Kind of. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Moving on. So let's talk about our second segment. We have NXT Heatwave happening on Sunday in Toronto, Ontario, Canada at Scotiabank Arena. Should be pretty awesome. I think it's going to be pretty awesome. NXT has been hitting on some pretty good PLEs lately. Obviously, with with TNA kind of being their recent, Charlie Dempsey once again was in TNA, kind of crazy. So Nathan Fraser and Axiom, the WWE NXT World Champions, aren't really on the same page right now. They're not on the same page. They were a pretty successful tag team. I thought they were going to lose a bunch of times. The AOP. I thought they were going to lose to the OC on Battleground. I'm waiting for these guys to lose. And it just occurred to me that I'm like, these guys are pretty good together. These guys are really good tag team champions. Right now, they're going against Duke Hudson and Andre Chase of Chase U, which kind of has inner turmoil between themselves right now at the moment. Rich Holland has been barred from coming to Toronto. Is he gonna be in Toronto? Is he gonna be like you're gonna see him in the crowd? Classic WWE, where you see him in the crowd and you're like, you never said I couldn't come as a fan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's gonna happen. And that will ultimately kind of be the distraction that maybe Nathan Fraser and Axiom need to win. But right now, I feel like Chase U is on fire. I feel like the tag team titles on Chase U would make more sense, in my opinion. But I don't know. Right now I'm kind of 50-50. I'm 50-50 right now with this match. I've been banking on Fraser and Axiom to lose for about 5 or 4 months now, and it's just never happened. So I'm like, oh shit, like maybe I should, move on to the other side. So right now I'm, 50-50, don't really know who's going to win. But if I was an NXT head writer, I feel like the tag team champions losing to Chase U would kind of build up a little more storylines. But that's just my prediction, my opinion. Not right all the time, but yeah, I feel like that'd be pretty badass. But moving on, we also have sorry, why isn't this working? There we go. Next, we have Kaylani Jordan defends her WWE NXT Women's North American Championship against Soruka. Soruka still, I believe, is not 100%. Kaylani Jordan, she's that sweetheart. She kind of like I kind of compared her to Bailey on a couple of shows ago, and you can kind of see that she's a former gymnast. She's like if Simone Biles comes over to the WWE, that's Kehlani Jordan. Athletic as hell, has all the accolades, all the all the accomplishments to be a recognizable and a notable women's athlete. Absolutely impressive. Not taking anything away from her with that. But in terms of professional wrestling, I just feel like she doesn't really have that kind of like that. Oh man, I can't explain it. Kind of like that backbone, I guess you can say, where you see someone walk out with the title rock and they're like Noma could touch me. You know what I mean? She doesn't have that bravado. She doesn't have that sense of like I said, it's hard to explain. But Kehlani Jordan, I feel like after maybe a couple of successful title defenses, she'll get there. But I felt like Soruka, the reason why this championship was made was for her to win it. I feel like she's electric. She has the fans behind her. Whenever she comes out, she cuts pretty good promos. It could be a way for these two friends to ultimately like become the next Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, and begin to hate each other and maybe like creating this pretty badass back and forth rivalry, I feel like that'd be pretty cool. I feel like that'd be pretty cool, 110%. I don't know if Jada Parker's going to get involved again. Obviously, she lost a lot of match, and ever since she lost, she's kind of been going ape stuff. But only time will tell. Right now, I'm going to say because something that Kehlani Jordan mentioned on the last WWE NXT is that she needs to have a nice prestigious run to be able to kind of make worthy of the NXT, North American Women's Championship. And that's true. That's true. If this title gets fought back and forth, it's going to feel like the 24/7 championship. It's going to feel like the European championship. It's also going to feel like, the hardcore championship once when it was, Crash Holly's, the 21st, when it was defended 24/7. Like no one wants to, there's such a thing as too long of a reign and there's such a thing as too short. Like you have to have that perfect balance between both. So, Kehlani Jordan, I think successfully defends her championship tonight. All right, now we have the NXT North American Championship in the men's division. You have Obafemi against the champion defending against Wesley. Wesley is absolutely desperate. This is his last chance to win the NXT North American Championship, the prestigious title that he made. God, and I really honestly don't want him to win. I don't want Wesley to win. I feel like he at this point, like like I always say, I respect the journey that he's made to kind of make it back into, but like I don't know, it's just like it would just be so like I can't even explain it. It would just be so like cliche. Be so cliche. You have the longest reigning WWE NXT North American champion dethrone the second place longest reigning North American champion in Obafemi. But Obafemi has been dominant. He's been, once again, you can have that question in terms of professional wrestling. There's always that two dominant champion, kind of like what you saw Rhea Ripley, kind of like what you saw with The Fiend, where these guys are just too big to beat, like Brock Lesnar. And you're like, oh, so we kind of have to have someone with a little finesse, with a little more, agile, a little more, flexibility to be able to kind of make the title defenses, more unpredictable. Because it seems like if once when Obafemi gets in the ring with like really anybody right now, I don't really feel like anybody really has a chance. So tonight we have Obafemi going against Wes. Not tonight, but tomorrow is going against Obafemi for the this is Wesley's last chance. If he loses, he can't challenge again. Next, we have Carmen Petrovic and Ariana Grace, both Canadian natives, taking on JC Jane and Jasmine Nix, the bad girls of WWE NXT. Once again, WWE's kind of in that spot where they're gonna pander to the crowd a little bit. They're gonna like you have Sami Zayn that's fighting on Money in the Bank, and then you have Carmen Petrovic and Ariana Grace, Canadians, gonna be I feel like Ariana Grace is gonna come out with like representing like the Maple Leaf flag, maybe singing the Canadian national anthem, and she's just gonna get total baby faced. And I think they pick up the victory. I think some way, somehow, although I feel like JC Jane and Jasmine Nix are highly kind of out of both of their leagues, I feel like somehow, some way they're going to get the victory. So tonight, well, on NXT Heatwave, Petrovic and Grace pick up the victory. Definitely think that's going to be in the future. Next, we have Roxanne Perez, the WWE NXT World Women's Champion, taking on Lola Vice. Lola Vice had a pretty emotional promo last week on NXT. It was pretty big. It's pretty big. It got a lot of hate online. People said it was fake. People said she's never cut a good promo before. So what the hell is she even doing? But we all know that Lola Vice isn't going to win. And if she does, it's going to be like that boyhood dream. But at NXT Heatwave, I don't know why I kind of look at these WWE PLEs that aren't big, like the Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, WrestleMania. I don't know. I just don't see. But then NXT is different, so I'm not, clinking my head too much. So I feel like right now I got Roxanne Perez at 85%. And I got Lola Vice at that slight 15%. If you want to take that to the bank, take it to the bank. But I think Roxanne Perez retains her title here. All right, and lastly, we have Trick Williams in a fatal four-way match, defending his WWE NXT World Heavyweight Championship against Ethan Page, Shawn Spears, and Javon Evans. This is kind of go off one by one. Javon Evans, he's still pretty damn young. He can go feud with a lot of other people. This could possibly kind of drive a wedge between him and Trick Williams to the point where they fight one-on-one in the future. Shawn Spears, I feel like if Shawn Spears has the title, it would bring WWE NXT to kind of like a new era that I feel like Shawn Michaels isn't ready to kind of take it in yet. If Ethan Page wins, I wouldn't mind if Ethan Page wins, to be honest. I wouldn't mind. I don't think it's going to win. I think ultimately Trick Williams is going to retain. But Trick Williams, he doesn't have to be pinned. He doesn't have to be pinned in this match, which is the ultimate alibi in terms of professional wrestling when it comes to, all right, let's let the champion lose the champion. But like when people doubt his credibility as champion, they're like, whoa, what are you talking about? Well, I lost it in the fatal four-way. I wasn't even pinned. This could possibly be a way to kind of scapegoat that out. But I don't know. I feel like this is going to be an awesome pay-per-view. I either have Trick Williams retaining or Ethan Page winning, to be honest. But Ethan Page is still a newcomer. Something totally shocking would be Shawn Spears. I am like 5% Javon Evans. I'm at 45% Trick Williams. I'm at like, man, it's so hard. It's hard. It's hard to hit on predictions, But overall, I feel like this pay-per-view, this PLE is going to be pretty badass. Can't wait to watch it on Sunday. So, yeah. All right, guys. Next, we're going to talk about how important is this Money in the Bank. Obviously, under the Triple H Paul Levesque era, behind the scenes in WWE, they're trying so hard to kind of erase kind of that Vince McMahon, kind of aura that WWE still, I feel like, has. So yeah, we're going to dive on into the subject matter. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. We talked about our WWE Smackdown preview. We also talked about our WWE NXT Heatwave predictions and analysis. But next, we're going to jump on into our, of course, why exactly is this Money to Bank kind of one of the most important PLEs? Obviously, you did have WrestleMania 40, the first PLE, the first WrestleMania under Triple H's creative order, so to speak. But this is big. This is going to be really big. This are basically these two people. I feel like Triple H is going to kind of take this as like as these guys are going to be the next people to kind of take kind of drive into a different directions, take the era away from Vince McMahon completely. After this PLE, I feel like people aren't going to mention Vince McMahon's name anymore. But yeah, honestly, let's dig on into it. So WWE has been officially being taken over, being deemed the Paul Levesque era. Triple H needs to have they need to have the money, the men's Money in the Bank winner. This the cash-ins. Just we're gonna first talk about the cash-ins. The cash-ins in the past have been pretty good. Pretty good. Can't dispute that. But I feel like if you're Paul Levesque, you kind of want to base these briefcases around two superstars that whenever they cash in, it's going to be big. It's going to be bigger than big. These two superstars have a whole lot of responsibility to uphold the company, the Paul Levesque name. They're kind of representing the era in terms of Money in the Bank. So a lot of pressure. Yeah, that's true. But I feel like right now on SmackDown and on Raw, for both the men's and women's division, I feel like you have guys who can do it. Definitely 110%. So I feel like Triple H has something to prove. I feel like, in my opinion, I don't feel like he really has anything to prove. I feel like that WrestleMania 40 was like really, really good. It was good enough. But obviously striving toward more, always thinking that you can do better is good in terms of business and stuff like that. So Paul Levesque, this the Money in the Bank winner needs to be someone that I feel like you kind of need to build the future around. And when I say the future, I don't mean like the future, but just the whole year. You need to have the whole year of this guy constantly having their Money in the Bank briefcase, and they're like, oh, if he cashed in, he's gonna win. This guy's gonna win. Something that you kind of saw that didn't happen with Damian Sandow. Kind of like what you saw what happened with Austin Theory. Kind of like what you saw what happened with even though he did successfully cash in the Money in the Bank, it was Dolph Ziggler, where you're like, dude, Dolph Ziggler's never gonna cash in. Like, it was that doubt. It was that doubt that made that Money in the Bank cash in so damn good. It made it so amazing. So Paul Levesque has a whole bunch of pressure tonight. Well, on Saturday, tomorrow. Damn, crazy. Of making this pay per view or this Money in the Bank winner probably one of the most prestigious Money in the Bank winners in the world. And even Cody Rhodes, you have Cody Rhodes, the WWE champion, who finished his story at WrestleMania 40, even deemed and labeling this Paul Levesque era kind of like the Renaissance era. And like when you think about Renaissance, you think about the Renaissance, in the world where you kind of had new technologies coming up, you had new ways of living that made it easier, better, more healthier. And I feel like that's kind of how you have the WWE right now. That's something that Triple H wants to establish. Once again, I feel like still watching WWE, there's still that McMahon kind of presence. And I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like Paul Levesque really, this whole year, I feel like this whole year is crucial in establishing himself as the true CEO, as the true COO, basically leading the company into the future. And WWE fans, I know, have a lot of faith in Paul Levesque. I know I do. But he's still linked to Vince McMahon. He's still his daughter, that's his father-in-law. You never talk bad about your father. Never, 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 never. Also, you have Bruce Pritchard. Bruce Pritchard as well has been kind of involved with Vince McMahon for the longest time. But I know it's kind of crazy. I feel like this is a complete decode. This is a complete decode that WWE is kind of going for, how WWE is going to be ran internally and externally from here on out, with TKO kind of getting involved, along with The Rock. It's different. It's different. You kind of have this different feel to it. And much like I was talking about Bruce Pritchard, although he's still in WWE, even Cody Rhodes said one of the reasons why he came back was because of Bruce, which, good for Bruce. That's cool. But, Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon are still, very much one, very much one. Former WWE Women's Champion Ronda Rousey claims after her departure from WWE, if Bruce Pritchard is still somewhat kind of around WWE creative, just know Vince McMahon is still kind of pulling the strings, and that could very much be it. Like WWE kind of did this in the past, where they kind of gave control to Shane. Didn't really work out. Went back to Vince. They gave it to Triple H. Vince McMahon couldn't be kind of stepped aside, and he came back in. And people were like, "No, no, why are you back? Like nobody wants you back, Vince. What are you doing, dude?" But I don't know. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Definitely don't want a WWE that kind of goes more toward of a predictable kind of content, kind of like what you saw with the McMahon era. But this is just something that wrestling fans want to see. This is how important this Money in the Bank is, because this is going to go on Triple H's resume. People are still highly crucial. People are still highly, very critiquing the way Triple H is running WWE, and that's got to cause a lot of turmoil. That's going to cause a lot of turmoil, probably at the kitchen table, maybe at Thanksgiving, where you're kind of looking across. You have Vince McMahon be like, "Hey, Hunter, let me, give you some ideas I have about what could happen on SmackDown." And Triple H is like, "Yeah, sure, go to shit them on by." And then they don't happen. And then Vince is like, "Those were golden ideas." We're just like, dude, like, just sit down and enjoy your turkey, bro. I'm just kidding. No, but it's crazy. It's not a real, it's not the best situation to kind of be in. It's kind of hard. The son-in-law, the father, the daughter. Oh God, it's just it's hard. It's hard. So I don't know. So who is driving the new paradigm shift in WWE's new product is a question that I'm constantly trying to ask myself. Right now, I feel like Triple H. I feel like Triple H is in, but then you also have Bruce Pritchard linked to Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon also linked to Triple H, linked to both these guys. So there's no. This is the first WWE without a McMahon. That's crazy. That's something that's unfathomable, unheard of. And Triple H is trying to do his best. And you kind of have to keep business away from pleasure, family away from business. That's why sometimes when you, most of the time, I would say 75% of the time, when you go to a business, when you get a new job, and then you're working with, the boss is the dad, the mom, what have you, the grandmother, whatever. And then they hire their niece, their nephew, their son. And it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable because you're like, you want to say something, you might be in a higher superior. You might want to say something, but you can't because you're like, oh shit, shoot, then I'm going to get fired. And it's just not all good. It's just not all good whatsoever. But there's just no easy way. Obviously, nepotism is kind of unavoidable. Kind of like what you saw with the Los Angeles Lakers drafting Bronny James. And then JJ Redick said in a press conference that, Bronny deserved this, this and that and the other. Dude, no, he didn't, dude. Like, don't be like, don't beat around the bush, bro. I feel like, I don't know. It was all because of his dad. Simply because it was, he averaged like 8 points a game. Kind of crazy, but, Bronny James is being drafted to one of the best NBA franchises in the whole entire world because of his dad. That's, just that headline. Just imagine that in the headline, and you're like, damn. What the hell happened to the NBA? All in all, the point is nepotism is kind of unavoidable in terms of sports and stuff like that. Things around the WWE has been more relaxed. A lot of coworkers, according to sources, have been saying a lot of wrestlers, a lot of creativity, officiating, superstars in the back, character development, storylines. They've been more relaxed thanks to Triple H kind of being there. And just like that freedom to be like, dude, say and do on live TV, just something that kind of feels natural to you, not constantly kind of having somebody lingering over your shoulder, just, when micromanaging be like, being a helicopter parent, you're like, oh no, don't do that. Like, what do you like? It gets tired. You're like, dude, what the hell? You hired me for a reason. You hired me for a reason to do what I have to do. How unique am I to your business if you don't allow me to present myself, to present my ideas, and kind of build this culture that is, because nobody wants to see the same product. It's like watching a robot. It's like watching the same show being spewed out over and over again. Yeah, that's cool. We've had a lot of success in the past that way. That's the way we do it around here. Yeah, but dude, there's no innovative ideas. You're just going to let the thing run over and over again. You're going to let it get boring like that. That's something that entertainment cannot have. That's something that WWE cannot have. So this Money in the Bank is probably one of the biggest pay-per-views that a lot of people are kind of like, I feel like people do kind of see the severity of it. I'm not saying that they don't, but I just feel like this WWE is getting pretty crazy. Obviously, you have a lot of blood and some bad language kind of into it. You have stars more active on the WWE platform, and once again, that just helps in terms of pop culture, helping entertainment stars being brandished, kind of like on your podcast, kind of like on your shows and stuff like that. Nick Khan was a former agent. Obviously, you can tell that he had a Rolodex of people that he probably called. He was like, "Hey, why don't you make an appearance on WWE? That would be so totally badass." And they're like, "You know what? Let's do it." So, yeah, that was my spiel on why this Money in the Bank is probably one of the most important PLEs toward the future. So, yeah. All right, guys. God, glad you guys are sticking with me. Hope you guys had an amazing 4th of July. Do not go anywhere. We're going to talk about Money in the Bank. We're going to talk about Here Comes the Money. Here we go. Money Talks.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your boy E here, every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, talking all things professional wrestling. So just kind of reflecting on what we talked about. We had our WWE Smackdown preview. Make sure you check out that. We had our WWE NXT Heatwave predictions, also analysis. We just got done recently talking about how this Money in the Bank under the Paul Levesque era is definitely one of the most important pay-per-views probably this year. And I know a lot of people will be like, "Oh, what do you mean this year? Like, we have the Royal Rumble still. Like, what are you talking about, dude?" Well, the Royal Rumble technically is in February, so it's next year. So is WrestleMania. But for the rest, well, we do have SummerSlam. SummerSlam is good. SummerSlam's kind of hit or miss for me. I know a lot of people are probably going to, turn my head off, but I feel like SummerSlam's kind of hit or miss for me. I like Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank is one of my most favorite pay-per-views. When you have someone win the briefcase that's kind of predictable, you're like, great, that sucks. Wow, like I couldn't, I could have had a full night's sleep. I could have, cooked dinner for my family. I could have hung out with my kids. I could have read them a bedtime story, but instead I sat my ass on the couch and I was like, dude, I want to watch this Money in the Bank ladder match. And then it ends the way you exactly knew it was going to end. And you're like, yeah, that's cool. Like, I feel like some kind of wrestling guru. I don't even know how cool that is. If you put that on your dating website on Match.com, maybe you might get a couple of hits. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Uh, but I don't know. You kind of just want unpredictability. That's something that professional wrestling definitely makes their money off of. Definitely why they're so great. So without further ado, let's talk about WWE Money in the Bank. One of my favorite pay-per-views. Can't wait to watch it tomorrow. Can't wait. So yeah, let's do it. So we have our Money in the Bank preview in Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Two superstars will change the landscape of WWE. They will change storylines, rumors, already in the works within WWE Creative, but most importantly, two superstars will change their careers, their lives, their successes, their journey in WWE. This is really, really big. That's something, once again, I was talking about on the last segment. Make sure you check that out. These two superstars are going to be linked to the Paul Levesque era for forever within WWE history. They're going to be like, oh, when Paul Levesque took over, yeah, the Money in the Bank winners, did this and that, because you kind of have you need these two Money in the Bank winners to kind of be entertaining, yes, unpredictable, yes, unpredictable. They also need to have this kind of sort of I don't want to say proxy, like, you know what I mean? Like, that just seems, just so cliche, but it needs to be unique. Historical, maybe. Needs to be historical. These superstars, obviously. But I don't know. Let's just get into the pay per view here. First, we're gonna start off with kind of some things that I don't like that Money in the Bank is doing right now. Once again, you don't have the women's World Heavyweight Championship match. Liv Morgan defended it on WWE Raw. Why? I don't know. Just builds more criticism toward Liv Morgan. I don't see her as a champion. I honestly don't. I gave her a chance. I honestly, really honestly did, but Liv Morgan is just a bridge champion. She's also, well, in WWE, you call it a transitional champion. In the NFL, you call it a bridge quarterback. But it's not working. It's not working. But then again, you do have Logan Paul, the United States champion, not defending as well. So you have something that's really good, and then you have the champion holder that's really, really bad. So it's not something that WWE is kind of using to kind of, ultimately kind of, kind of play apples to oranges a little bit. And you're like, we're not going to have this title defend. But dude, like, I don't know, where is it? Bayley doesn't have a match either. Bayley doesn't have a match. Back in the day, back in WWE/WWF, the Attitude Era, the pay-per-views were straight up beefed up. They were on steroids. It was like Barry Bonds' skull. It was just ready to pop. Anything could happen at any time. And you had championships up the championships. You had, like I love about AEWs, you have, I don't know why WWE doesn't, I feel like that's why in professional wrestling, I feel like they have pay-per-views every month, is to kind of, give people the chance of witnessing kind of like a title change. Obviously, title changes never really happened off pay-per-views. It was kind of like a big wrestling no-no, especially when I was growing up, watching on SmackDown and Raw, and they're like, oh, we have a rare title. It was rare. It was rare to have a title match. And every single time there was a title match, you're like, okay, great. Someone's going to interfere. We already know this. And guess what? Somebody would interfere. Oh, we're not going to have anybody. We're not going to have any title changes unless it's under pay-per-view, unless we show it to people who are paying for it. And I feel like WWE's kind of doing a crappy job with that. But that's just, honestly, that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. I feel like, WWE, there should be United States Championship title defense. Even Logan Paul over the Pat McAfee, I think it was Pat McAfee, or his own podcast, Impulsive, kind of stressed about that. He was like, dude, like, I'm your champion. I want to prove myself. And you have this YouTuber, no offense. You have this YouTuber, this guy that a lot of people are like, dude, this guy's in the real deal. I think you don't have him defending his championship every month. Dude, what the hell's wrong with that? Well, why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? So once again, you don't have Liv Morgan defending her championship. You also don't have Bayley, no Logan Paul, no tag team title belts whatsoever, no World Women's Championship match, no WWE Championship match, no WWE World Title, World Tag Team Championship defenses. And I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong. I think it's it's time for WWE to kind of just get with the real world, man. What are you doing? Instead, the night before you have DIY taking on the A-Town Down Under. Imagine if you see a face turn with Austin Theory becoming a babyface instead of the heel. It would just make such a mark if it was like, oh, I have Money in the Bank. You had Austin Theory. Austin Theory lost his chance to win in Money in the Bank. He was a title briefcase holder. He had a chance to be the WWE champion, the World Heavyweight champion. He cashed in. He failed. Came back. Wants to cement his legacy, wants to be viewed differently. In terms of WWE, he turns on Grayson Waller, but that's not going to happen. We're not going to get a chance to witness that. We're not going to, even Austin Theory has something about media. Yes, it impacts the entertainment business that's ultimately promoting the content, but also the superstar itself. Like, if I was Austin Theory, I'd be like, damn, I would like my heel turn happen on a PLE. I would like that to happen, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen because WWE, I feel like they still can't get it right in terms of pushing matches on PLEs like Money in the Bank, Clash at the Castle. It's crazy, but obviously hit me up in the chat section if you have, obviously another opinion. Next, we have Sami Zayn taking on Braun Breaker. This match, you kind of have this Sami Zayn getting into it once again. Sami Zayn, a Canadian native, going up against the quote unquote from Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, the badass of Monday Night Raw. He wants to be the badass of Monday Night Raw. Let me tell you something. If you ever deemed yourself a badass, guess what? You're not a badass. Braun Breaker, I felt like since he made it onto the WWE main roster in Monday Night Raw, has just been trash. His bookings have been trash. His promos have been trash. His storylines, trash. WWE's looking for another way for Braun Breaker. If he makes it back down to NXT, that would ultimately destroy his career. So there has to be some kind of there has to be a fine line that Braun Breaker has to draw that was like, dude, like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing to my character? Why am I going against Sami Zayn if I'm just going to lose the match? If you had Braun Breaker come in and not drive Ricochet through a windshield and not constantly attack Ilya Dragunov in the back or other superstars, if you had him actually work his arse off to the point where he is right now, have him and Sheamus and, Ludwig Kaiser fight in like a triple threat match to determine the number one contender and he wins cleanly, that is a position where you could possibly have Braun Breaker win the championship. But instead, the way this is going right now, if Braun Breaker wins this championship, to be honest, I'm going to be kind of pissed. I feel like Sami Zayn, in front of a Canadian crowd, I think he's going to win. He deserves to win at this point. He deserves to win. I got 95% Sami, 5% Braun Breaker. Next, we have Damian Priest, the World Heavyweight Champion, taking on Seth Rollins. If Damian Priest wins, Seth Rollins cannot challenge the World Heavyweight Championship. If Seth Rollins wins, Damian Priest has to lead the Judgment Day. And, after they kind of had that gentleman's agreement, I think that kind of really made my mind up. I kind of thought Seth Rollins maybe had a little bit of a chance, but Damian Priest isn't going to leave Judgment Day. He's not going to leave Judgment Day. He's going to be kicked out of Judgment Day. I don't know if that's going to make any sense, but he's going to be kicked out of Judgment Day because you have this inner turmoil. You have this heat, this blood, this pot of, this can of worms that's constantly boiling over with Finn Balor, JD McDonough, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito. I think it would be beneficial for Judgment Day to kind of just find a new leader right now. And Damian Priest, although he is the leader, and I thought he was heading toward babyface role, kind of crazy how he still continues to get booed. I don't know if he's going to be kind of like that Baron Corbin kind of figure where I was like, okay, I could just be like a lone wolf and stuff like that on my own. But I don't really see him losing the championship tonight. Maybe perhaps there is an interference that finally causes for Damian Priest to be like, I'm done. I'm done with the bloodline. God damn it, why do I keep doing that? I'm done with the Judgment Day. Like during the match, you have Finn Balor come out and he strikes Finn Balor. And then there's a huge fight. There's a huge turmoil that happens. And then on Monday Night Raw, maybe there might be something done about it. But that's the only way I can see this, storyline kind of making sense. Seth Rollins, due to a disqualification, wins this match. But once again, it's not like, oh, I don't feel good about winning this match. I didn't win it cleanly. I didn't win the World Heavyweight Championship, so you don't have to leave the Judgment Day. We also have the Bloodline, Cody Rhodes, RKO. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens going on a 3-on-3. Like I said, I want them to make it a 4-on-4 so damn bad. But since WWE has been so wrong in the pay-per-view so far, it's not going to be a surprise that it's going to be on 3-on-3. But I don't want to say this match, mostly benefits the Bloodline. So, if they get a win over Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton, it's going to be big. It's going to be big. And if Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton wins, it's going to be so cliche. It's going to be one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, we didn't see that coming. So, yeah, honestly, I feel like the Bloodline wins tonight to kind of establish some credibility within the new Young Bloodline and the new self-proclaimed Tribal Chief. So we have the Money in the Bank match. I kind of wish I had a little more time to talk about this, but I don't. We have Jey Uso, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, Chad Gable, LA Knight, and Drew McIntyre. My money is on Drew, but with the CM Punk looking for retribution after the attack, he's going to find a way to screw over Drew McIntyre. I honestly, besides Drew, I feel like LA Knight already kind of has a stint right now with the United States champion Logan Paul. I feel like they're going to fight at SummerSlam. Chad Gable's dealing with his own problems with the Alpha, trying to get the Alpha Academy on his side, going against the Wide Six, who completely try to harass him. Andrade, I love Andrade. I feel like this match was ultimately, he was kind of put in it to be like, oh, for the futures match, be like, oh, Andrade could still kick ass. Jey Uso and Carmelo Hayes, I feel like, are 50-50. This briefcase could be amazing for both of these careers. Absolutely. Obviously, Jey Uso can get an opportunity faster than Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes has that, kind of has that chip on his shoulder. You had Damian Priest, who was a heel when he won the Money in the Bank. So it's no surprise to me. Maybe they give it to a babyface. Jey Uso wins. So right now I'm at 55 Jey Uso, 55% he's going to win, 45% Carmelo Hayes. And that slight, like Drew McIntyre, it'd be poetic justice because Drew McIntyre lost both of his championships due to this briefcase. And the women's Money in the Bank, we have Chelsea Green against Io Sky, Zoe Stark, Tiffany Stratton, Lyra Valkyria, and Naomi. This match is probably, if I had to put my money on it, I don't think Io Sky's going to win. She was a back-to-back Money in the Bank. Maybe, perhaps she cashes in on Bayley. That'd be pretty interesting. I wanted Chelsea Green to win, and I thought Chelsea Green, the moment Chelsea Green qualified, I was like, oh shit, oh stuff. I mean, sorry about that. I was like, oh dang, she's gonna find her, she's gonna be the best women's Money in the Bank, kind of like a Carmella, like kind of holding over Mrs. Money in the Bank. But when Tiffany Stratton won, I was like, okay, Tiffany can kind of do the same thing. So and they were highly pushing Tiffany Stratton. Lyra Valkyria was a runner up in the women's King of the Ring. So I don't know how much they're gonna give to her. Naomi, like I said, she's kind of in that position in her career where she's kind of pushing kind of like younger superstars and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning into my show, GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. We are almost done on this Friday, on this July 5th Friday podcast. Gonna let you guys go pretty soon, but we're gonna finish this up with our wrestling news roundup. So hey, do not go anywhere. And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, talking all things wrestling, all the action backstage, all the storylines, all the promotions, all the rumors, everything, the statistics, the analysis, everything to think about wrestling, every promotion, TNA, Ring of Honor. We touch on MLW and also the NWA partially, which I can do a little more. But this is an hour wrestling show. That'd be like 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. Who knows? Well, yeah. Now we're gonna jump on into our wrestling news roundup. We're gonna talk about some of the hottest headlines happening within the world of professional wrestling. So let's go ahead and get that up and running. So let's do it. All right. First and foremost, we have The Rock. The Rock explains the decision to return to WrestleMania 40. Obviously, you had the documentary come out with WrestleMania 40, the WrestleMania under the Paul Levesque era, and it did reveal a lot of stuff. And it was, I can't wait to watch it. I've watched, some highlights, some promos and stuff like that, and it looks pretty dynamite. The decision to kind of bow out of the main event against Roman Reigns was ultimately a decision that The Rock kind of had to make. The fans were deeply upset that they didn't get a chance to watch Roman Reigns, to watch Cody Rhodes finish his story. The choice to plead was it was crazy. It was crazy because you kind of had the choice to kind of, you know, for the WrestleMania main event, you could have had The Rock against Roman Reigns. More of like fans would have loved that. Fans, I honestly wanted to see that more than Cody and Roman. That's because I'm like, a little bit more of an older generation wrestling fan. And, that's something that doesn't offend me. I know I'm old. I'm just kidding. I know I was, watched the Attitude Era, grew up during the ruthless aggression era. And now you just want to see WWE kind of become something really awesome. And so you kind of had the choice to play to a broader audience or tell an amazing story that WWE fans like me, and I fell for it too, that could build off of. And I wanted Roman Reigns to fight The Rock. But then we got Cody and Roman. We're like, all right, obviously my wife was super excited about it. And I was like, okay, great. Like, oh, Cody's cool and all, but he's not really that superstardom yet. Sure, he did some time with Ring of Honor. Sure, he did some time with New Japan Professional Wrestling, created AEW, and now he's back. Yeah, that's cool, dude. That's cool, dog. I didn't really respect him much as a wrestler. I kind of hated it when he came back, to be honest. When he won at WrestleMania 40, I got to be honest, I got goosebumps. It was crazy. It was crazy. Even I was shocked. I was like, dude, what the hell is going on with me? I almost went to the hospital. I was like, dude, I think I'm having a stroke. I'm just kidding. No, but I was like, that's crazy. I teared up, cried a little bit. I was like, dude, this is so freaking cool. Why am I enjoying this? It just made sense. It just made sense. Something that The Rock brings to professional wrestling. The reason why he's in the chair, in TKO in terms of WWE, it's not by accident. It's not like TKO was like, oh yeah, let's just put The Rock because he used to wrestle. Yeah, and he did some Hollywood movies. Cool. The Rock cares about wrestling. The Rock cares about WWE. The Rock cares about storytelling. And that's something that happened really, really well. He bowed out. He was like, you know what? Cody Rhodes needs to finish the story at WrestleMania. I'm going to put aside my selfish views. I'm going to create this final boss persona. And then we're just going to have Cody Rhodes just take over WWE. And which, kind of did. Kind of crazy. So, yeah, definitely. I think that's, pretty badass. WWE NXT sees viewership decrease. Overall, I felt like this episode of NXT on Tuesday was pretty cool. You had that Brooks Jensen kind of thing with Shawn Michaels that, kind of breaking the fourth wall a little bit. You kind of had Brooks Jensen depicted as a raging alcoholic. You're kind of blurring the lines between reality and professional wrestling, and that's cool and all. And then you also have Lola Vice come out, and I felt like she could have cut a better promo than it was the truth. I get it sometimes, but then sometimes the truth isn't as good as like a lie in terms of like entertainment and in terms of professional wrestling. Lola, talking about her mom, talking about her parents, and it was like one of those things where like even I nodded my head. I was like, okay, like that's that's awesome, that's great. But it did kind of lose me, and I'm not trying to sound mean or insensitive or like melancholy. I'm not trying to be not trying to be an arse. But I just felt like that promo between Lola Vice and Roxanne Perez, I felt like you wanted to see a little more strength from the challenger. You wanted to see that like in your face, like, dude, I just beat the crap out of Shayna Baszler. I'm gonna come in here and take you out, girl. But that didn't happen. That didn't happen. You kind of had that approach. When it comes to persuasion, what I've studied in college, you have the ethos, pathos, logos. Obviously, logos, appealing to, logic, got ethos, ethical principles and stuff like that. But they went totally pathos, emotional appeal. Let's get tears. I want these people to cry on their shirts and it just becomes translucent because I'm not sweating. It's all my tears. I'm just kidding. No, but I don't know. I just, I feel for it. But like the moment she kind of did that, I was like, you know what? I love Lola Vice. Like Wesley, I appreciate the journey. I respect the journey. But this is wrestling. This is professional wrestling. It's entertainment. It's entertainment. So honestly, I kind of think Roxanne Perez. I want Roxanne Perez to win this match, to be honest. To be brutally honest. All right. So I don't know why this isn't working. There we go. So next we have Mercedes Mone. Her response to being seen with Shane McMahon. something that I kind of thought about. Obviously, AEW is doing really well for being like kind of like a baby company. AEW needs a lot of traction, needs a lot of attention. I think Shane McMahon would definitely bring a lot of attention to Tony Khan's promotion, but like kind of like the wrong attention. You know, I feel like if I see Shane McMahon go on AEW, you automatically think it's like, okay, Shane's only there to spite WWE, and Tony Khan only has him there to spite WWE. He's not there for creative purposes. He's not there to wrestle. He's not there to be like an official creative officer. He's not there to do any of that. He would just be solamente there just to like kind of push their numbers. And for that, I don't like it. I don't think that's cool. Not at all. Obviously, Shane McMahon had something to do with the business side, which Tony Khan has kind of reiterated that he's a professional like genius and stuff like that. He may be. He may be. But just the way it's kind of received so much attention in this kind of limelight in terms of AEW. Because when you saw Shane McMahon talking to a WWE superstar, I thought it was Daniel Bryan. But I guess it was Mercedes Mone in an airport. They linked up together. They recognized each other. They had a good conversation. Throughout ringside news, cage side seats, throughout, Sports Illustrated, PW Insider, you name it. You had that main headline. You had that main headline of Shane McMahon is AEW. And I do like, dude, why? Why did I don't want to say that kind of ruined, or like, I don't want to like blame Tony Khan and be like, oh, let's bring Shane McMahon into this to, piss people off. Maybe Tony Khan generally did have the idea that Shane McMahon would help him. Obviously, Shane McMahon's been around the WWE, although he's witnessed his father, he witnessed, his brother-in-law, Paul Levesque. Even he did some creative, individualism inside the WWE. The whole WWE underground was kind of a joke. Knowing the do's, knowing the don'ts of professional wrestling, it's big. It's big. Having anybody come in there and be like, oh yeah, we did that over here and that didn't really work out. That's something Shane McMahon could have been, like a business consultant kind of thing. Didn't really need too much publicity, but we're the media. We talk about stuff like that. I kind of did do a segment as well talking about is Shane McMahon going to go all elite? That's just something that we talk about. That's just something that we do. We kind of jump the gun on a lot of stories because it creates for entertainment. People want to watch that kind of stuff. But ultimately, like I said before, Shane McMahon, I feel like isn't going to go to AEW. All right, next we have Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia from AEW recently lost against the AEW International Champion Will Ospreay. Got attacked by MJF, created MJF's full heel scene. Pretty badass. Small brag. Done chilling. Daniel Garcia, despite his recent push, has been his AEW contract is expiring. I don't know when it's going to expire. It's going to expire within the next month and a half. But I feel like AEW, with their push with Daniel Garcia, he's big with the company. He's big with the crowd. I feel like he is more of an AEW international champion, and Will Ospreay should focus on the heavyweight kind of main card there. I know why AEW is doing it is because Will Ospreay, recently came to the company. So they're like, all right, like you have Mercedes Mone win right off the bat. You had, who else signed? You had Kazuchika Okada. He automatically won right away too. Jack Perry won. He won right away too. So then you have Will Ospreay come in. Obviously, he won right away too. He's an AEW national champion. Like that's no surprise. It's not by any coincidental, purposes and stuff like that. You got to butter him up. Hey, if you come over to our promotion, we'll give you this much money and a title. We'll get all the attention around you, and you're going to be big. You're going to be big, kid. And that's a conversation that I feel like Tony Khan isn't really ready to have with Daniel Garcia. But I think he does pretty good moves. He wrestles. He does great. He's not the most, like, when you think of AEW, you don't think, oh, Daniel Garcia. He definitely could be the future. And if Tony Khan's going to sign him, this is something that has to do with, like, delicacy. You can't just offer him, like, oh, let's do, like, a 5-year contract. I think a max would probably be 2 to 3 years. That's what I would give him. But, Daniel Garcia right now, he's kind of on the cusp. He's the future of AEW, future of AEW. All right, so let's move on. So we have the unified featherweight champion, world champion Amanda Serrano expresses her interest in joining WWE eventually. Much kind of like you kind of saw this coming. You kind of saw this coming with TKO buying the WWE. Obviously, you saw wrestlers like Shayna Baszler. Ronda Rousey joined the UFC after their joined the WWE after their stint in UFC. And this is no different. This is no different. Partially, combat sports. There's no doubt in my mind that Serrano was a WWE fan growing up. No surprise. A lot of these wrestlers, a lot of these superstars that step into the octagon probably are WWE fans. Probably are. Like, who cares, dude? We know it's choreographed. We know it's scripted. Like, dude, who cares? It's entertaining. It's pretty awesome. You see that the way these guys put their bodies through, it's hellacious. It's crazy. These guys put their bodies on the line sometimes twice a week. UFC fighters maybe 3 to 4 times a year. That's insane. And obviously it's not reciprocated. The level of pain, the level of development, the level of constantly keeping your body in check is not the same as UFC. But Serrano would be amazing in WWE. I watched highlights. I think she would be pretty good. Avoiding that no Ronda Rousey, who constantly botched matches, constantly hurted other superstars and stuff like that, had a bad attitude. But I feel like that's kind of something that, like, when you come out of the UFC, you may kind of have that bravado, that ego, that was like, some people do come in kind of a little disgruntled. They're like, dude, all right, I fought in a sport that was real fighting. Yeah. Like, dude, like, hey, grow up, get over yourself, dude. Like, are you serious right now? Self-glazing, self-brag. But that's something that you kind of need to have humility. You kind of be like, dude, these guys are athletes too and stuff like that. You can't just walk into the WWE and be like, oh, I'm going to kick ass. WWE is not like the UFC. You get a lot more cues. It's the entertainment factor. It's probably harder than the UFC. UFC, you can go out there for you 5 3-minute rounds. You can go out there for like a minute and a half, get knocked out. You can go out there for a minute and a half to start flailing around or just start like, oh man, like you can get that match done in like a minute. But not in WWE. WWE, you have to have this wrestling. You have to have this combatant sports. You have to look like kind of like this art form that is fighting. You need to make it look realistic. You need to, play the part. You need to ultimately get the viewers kind of involved. Instead, in UFC, you're trying to get the match done as fast as possible. So, kind of cool, kind of crazy. Love that Serrano's interested in WWE. So, Carmelo Hayes addresses the LA Knight about his promo botch. I watched this a couple weeks ago, and I was like, dude, like, I can't believe Carmelo just said that. They were talking about Logan Paul, but then Carmelo Hayes be like, do you think LA wants to fight you? And LA Knight was kind of like, no, man, like, I don't want, I'm looking in the mirror. I want to, talk about Logan Paul. And it's just kind of after, of course, when went cut, Carmelo Hayes went to LA Knight, and LA Knight was like, dude, I was talking about Logan. And Carmelo Hayes was like, oh my God, that's crazy. I'm sorry. Like, I messed up. That was my bad. And it happens. It does happen. A young superstar like Carmelo Hayes, I don't think that's ultimately going to mess up his push. But yeah. Next, we have Will Ospreay parts ways with the Don Callis family. Super awesome that Don Callis wasn't so crazy about it. Obviously, you see the Ring of Honor television champion Kyle Fletcher in the back, with a little disapproval with what Will Ospreay wants to do. But there's no doubt in my mind that the Don Callis family is going to find a way to attack Will Ospreay in the future. So, running out of time, guys, wrapping this up. So Shawn Michaels confirms that Lola Vice is going to be eventually called up with WWE, kind of being like, all right, now we kind of see kind of like a way out of losing against Roxanne Perez at Heatwave, but only time will tell. So yeah. Well, guys, hope you enjoyed my show. Hope you guys had an amazing 4th of July. Hope you guys are having an amazing 5th of July as well. So yeah, thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Also follow us on Twitter /X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok for more content and updates. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do once again love a lot of peace, love, and positivity, and just being part of the show, guys. We love a lot of fan interaction. Don't be afraid to hit up the chat boxes when you watch these shows. We have a bunch of good podcasters killing it, and we want you guys to be a part of it. So once again, hope you guys are having an amazing holiday weekend, and stay beautiful.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work.